Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Adan Castro. I am from the Faculty of Architecture, and I'm currently studying the Habitat Design career. And today I'm going to talk about Mérida, a colonial city. Here in this presentation, we are going to talk about the structure and brief four main points. In the structure, we begin with first the beginning of Mérida, that happens to be in the when was found and brief of things that it's called the first cradle of the sum of the city. The evolution of Mérida, secondly, is going to be that is going to be fast on the edges and things haven't changed in the structure and in the architecture. And the third point is the new people in the city. It's going to talk about the new generations that are growing up here and how it's going to be changed in the structure of the city as well. In fourthly, it's going to be a memorable buildings before and after to have memorable things that pass on the different centuries and years and how it's presented now. Well, in the beginning of Merida, we can saw from the images the Mayan city of Ta and the city of Merida in the beginnings. Well, we can say that Merida was found in the 1542, was built with ancestor Mayan city of Ta. That clearly the Mayan culture was found and previously put down the city of Ta by Mayan of the ground. It was great to be built. And obviously, the places around it, surrounded, was a great to be a good culture. Well, from the Spanish at beginning of the colonization, Francisco de Montejo was the first people, the ancestors, that they saw these main pyramids from the Mayans and destroyed them and get the ruins construct for the Merida Cathedral and other places for the buildings of the new city that they considered to make. And Merida, at the beginning of this reconstruction of the city, was the human layout orthogonal because they put down together this kind of grid plan that put together all the streets and the main parts of the city was built in this form of squares. Yeah, okay. Later on, we can say that evolution that changes in the society and the city. Principle, the city has been passing between the history. We can say that in the first places, the buildings and the houses and the structure main that passing to be on the styles of the buildings more the French or European as well because in the colonization they try to recreate the image of those places in here from the buildings and we can say that pass on the times and a lot of changes that happened I saw as well like the period of Anakin industry and how the revolution of them saw his coming to try to put down the city more and more great and bigger as well. We can say that the city has more social and more capitalism here because they try to put a lot of paths to increase the population here. And from the society, more of well, we can say that in early places um, more as well from because the background of the structure is more like Catholicism take places and it was the better point of view of that and and of course the limits of the city was put down in little places and so as well happens through the years and get bigger of the city a lot of culture get on the rough city of Merida. That happens to be a great place, but you can say that it clashes sometimes because of period and a lot of background of culture. Here are some of samples that goes as well as the structure we have in the early places in the city of Merida, but in the first quadrant of the city, as we call the center. We can say that these kind of places have the same path of the structure, but we can have a good representation of what the early days was. And now, with the new get places of a structure, the more like houses and places, it gets more like modern, but more for the people and be more socially accepted, for example. And from the bottom line, we can have the evolution of the grid that it can be had like a mob square one and just put a so whole center in once and how get bigger and bigger through the years. And all of a sudden, we can have a great view that the places get so big that we can say that we clash with other municipalities. Later on, we can be like the new people of the city, as we can say as residents of the first quadrant of the sun are changing nowadays. Like it's not more like for local people, it's more like foreign people that they are living and having those places for them. They're literally buying those places and reconstruct them for them. And what's a problem for that? It's that get a certification for the local people because it's now as put down together that we have a certain point of view of the center. But with the new generations that are coming and they are changing the surroundings and they are preparing from the earth and the places that we have around, we are going to have to put down the local people out for the city because they are not having the great places to live with that places. And the places like museums and stores have a lot of trouble because the people that are currently live there, they want to get the suburban life through and not like the way that it's currently happening in the center. It's more commercial. We have a lot of equipment and structures there that are not bounding themselves, and that's causing a problem there. And here we have a memorial buildings before and after, because we can say that in the city of the center of Merida, we can have a lot of these places that not haven't changed a lot, we can say, but in the same places, they are getting used to do other things. We can say the Palacio Municipal or the Catedral are the same, but the surroundings are changing. Here we have the Plaza de Montejo. In the early days are more like for people and be walking there. It's more like a community, more for the for the people. And now it's more for the stores, museums, and other places like hotels that have there, and it's more for a vehicle, cars, and other ways to transport yourself. And other places like there, like museums, are the better places. But first, they were houses, and now it's just more like memorable place. Now, for my conclusion, I want to say that the city of the Merida, Yucatan, is going to be more like. For my conclusion, I'm going to talk about the places have been changed. Yes, we know that Merida had been past a lot of evolution, but as well, we can say that the community and the people out there are forcing those things because it's not just a change of a structural thing. It's for part of the government that they take a place in the decision of doing that thing. When you are getting those like local people are trying to escape those places because they can afford to live there, but as well as the foreign people are taking places of there. They are moving and they are changing those places. And I want to say that people is going to be the more involved in that community because it's our places, but we can be sharing but not living there. And of course, the city has been growing and growing, but what was the limit? I want to say that people it needs to be more like grounding and take a place to be social aware that the communities need to be established in the structured way. So that's my conclusion that people need to be more aware of that thing.